if I could generate my own electricity and grow my own food, I didn't need the government for nothing.
Right. Right.
And then suddenly, this legislation started appearing, the National Animal Identification System, and then Barack Obama just a couple of months ago just signed an executive order saying, man, rural property, man, is where it's at. This is where we need to be. We need to, the federal government needs to get more involved in rural property. They are scared to death we are going to become self-sufficient.
Oh yes, that really puts a lot of fear in these people. You're right.
And then to this day, I mean, I get people telling me why you can't do it. Well, the zoning won't allow that, Yeah, and they want to put a meter on your well. Yeah, I understand.
Well,
how do we fight this? How do we fight this? This is what I'm asking you. Now, what's happened is you can broadcast on Republic, but I'll be willing to bet you can't have me on Republic because you have a lot of Jewish-oriented advertisers.
Oh no, we have. I can have anybody I want. You're certainly welcome to come on my show.
I would love to do that. I was actually broadcasting on Republic for a while. I've known John Stadmiller since he was working with Mark Kornke. I've known them that long too.
Oh yeah. Well, I know Mark also.
How is Mark doing? What's happening?
Well, we haven't talked in about a year, but as far as I know, he's still broadcasting his daily show and living his life up there in Michigan.
How have things now in this since my accident, my life has really changed because not only have I been recuperating physically and mentally and emotionally and everything else, but financially they have managed to stem off any source of income. I mean, people, how can you get people to advertise on your site if as soon as they do, they get threatening phone calls?
Right.
How do we do it? How do we do it? I've got more books to do. I've got books to print and put it. I've got films to do here, and I'm blocked in every library. If you go into a library and try to type in Free American, suddenly it comes up that I'm a porno site.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, they're really getting creative. And let's see, who's cyber warfare? Oh yeah, that's your Pentagon. And that's Homeland Security again, isn't it?
Right.
They really don't want us, and the mainstream television, I refer to that. I told people when I helped start the militias, and I did help start the militias, ADL gives me a lot of credit for that. They just don't tell you I did it in the governor's office. Governor Gary Johnson, who's running for president now, wasn't exactly a terrorist organization,
Right.
And they got so scared of the militias that we were starting, and me in New Mexico, we brought Kornke down to speak to about 600 people in Albuquerque. We had our own Free American television show up there at the time. So, and then suddenly all of the heat started, you might say.
Well,
have they attacked you?
April 19th, 1995.
Have they attacked you? Are you,
Well, I was part of the militia movement myself, and I was the elected commander of the St. Louis City and St. Louis County militia back in December 1994. And we were really doing well until April 19th, 1995. That day when that building blew up in Oklahoma City, that was pretty much the end of having any real effectiveness for public outreach with the militias.
And similarly, when 9/11 blew up, that didn't any chance of us actually experiencing peace for a few years.
Absolutely. Here's what I do, Clay, with the 9/11 thing. When I'm speaking publicly, I'll ask, or even privately, I'll ask the audience. I say, most of you probably have a welding shop within a couple of miles of where you live. I'd like you to go to the owner of the welding shop and make them the following offer: offer to pay off the mortgage for their house, pay off the mortgage for their business, and send all their children to college if the welding shop owner can melt structural steel with kerosene.
We've just I've done a series of shows, the last two shows, and I would recommend this man for you to have on. His name's Chuck Baldwin.
Oh, I know Chuck. I mean, I don't know him personally, but I know who he is.
Chuck Baldwin. He did a report at the Vancouver 9/11 hearings. We've just done about, I've got about 6 half-hour segments that I've done with him. He says the buildings were brought down with nukes, planted nukes, directional nukes in the bottom of in the basement of the buildings, and he's got enough proof, to kind of blow Judy Woods and her dustification theory or particle beam weapons out of the park. But the information that he gave me over the last 3 hours basically says that Israel, the Mossad, were behind that they conspired with Silverstein. They blew up the buildings to start the wars, to point the finger at the Muslims, with the impregnable and undestroyable passport. And that was actually an Israeli nuclear attack on American soil.
Clay, when John Kennedy was president, nuclear weapons could be as small as a volleyball. Now they can be as small as a tennis ball.
Chuck referred to it as a matchbook, so they could have them down to matchbook size.
Well, that's possible too. The technology just keeps getting smaller and smaller. Once you get to a certain small level of smallness, it doesn't really matter anymore, does it?
No. Once you set off the reaction, it's and whoever. I mean, come on. The majority of the evidence points at Israelis. It doesn't point to. I said George Bush. They want to call me a conspiracy theorist. George Bush kind of makes me pale by comparison. He wants you to believe a bunch of Arabs in a cave in Afghanistan made the U.S. Air Force stand down.
Well, actually, those Arabs were in Pakistan. They weren't in a cave. The building where bin Laden was living was about 2 football fields away from the main gate of the Pakistan equivalent of West Point. It was not some remote mountain village. It was two football fields away from the main gate of the Pakistan government equivalent of West Point, where they train young men to be officers in their military. So we went to war with Afghanistan for being bin Laden's buddy and providing him refuge. The real enemy should have been Pakistan all along, shouldn't it?
Yes. And we've got another enemy out there that nobody ever talks about, and I believe it's mentioned on one of the films I got on my site. That's Saudi Arabia. I mean, we financed Saudi Arabia.
I don't know that Saudi Arabia needs any funding with the oil revenues, but they certainly, they're heavily influenced and heavily dictated by the Wahhabi sect of the Islamic religion. The Wahhabis are the ones, by the way, funding the hundreds of mosques being built in the United States. These men are just very part of a very bizarre and dangerous religious sect of the Islam, a very bizarre, freakish, and dangerous part of Islam, and they have a lot of control of the Saudi royal family.
I've said the Bible has a lot of information, a lot of clues for us, and the solution the Bible had was come out of her, talking about Mystery Babylon. My book's entitled Mystery Babylon, New World Order Unveiled. And the Constitution really protects you. So I tell people on my show, I don't care whether you, if you want to bang your head against that Wailing Wall and knock yourself out. Don't expect me to do it. You want to stick your nose in the dirt and your ass up in the air, I'll try to keep the Doberman off of you. and you want to get on your knees and pray for a Cadillac, well, I'll see if I can put in a request so that God don't drop it on you. Just don't expect me to get down on my knees with you. And that's what it is. If you ain't on our page, if you ain't with us, you're against us.
That's right.
Now, there's something wrong with this psychology, and we've been subjected to this. We've been under psychological warfare for over 100 years, ever since the Federal Reserve took over and before. we're being programmed. We're being programmed to accept that it's okay to pay for your house 3 times.
Right.
And it all benefits
you know
the
what the
banksters.
11th wonder of the world is, Clay?
What's that?
Compound interest.
Yes. Fractional banking. Fractional banking. Now, you think people are waking up to it, but you know, I've got another little problem here. Everybody wants to talk about the way to solve this problem, except for J.R. Campbell. Or J.B. Campbell? Have you spoken with him?
I don't know J.B. Campbell, no.
And I have to tell you, I'm almost leaning towards his way, because we've got such a racket going here, folks. We've got such a racket going. You want Barack Obama? Oh, let's vote for Barack. Change you can believe in. Yes, we can. Nothing's changed from Barack Obama from George Bush, who gave us Homeland Security.
Nothing of any consequence, no.
You know,
Changes
two wings,
but not substance, right.
2 wings of the same bird. Now, the statistics are coming out. The Democrats are spending 300 and something million on advertising. The Republicans are spending 2 point something million on advertising, or billion. I'm not sure what it is. It doesn't really matter, because the politicians are paying the media companies. They're all owned by the same group. You don't get it. I was involved in presidential candidates with the first Republican to sign up for you remember Charles Collins?
Oh, yes. I met him. Yeah.
Yes, I was his bodyguard, speechwriter, driver, and we've been friends for years. And every time he got up to speak, every cameraman on stage pointed their cameras at the ground, took a smoke break. In 2 states, they unplugged his microphone. They didn't want to know that we could buy back the Federal Reserve. And matter of fact, didn't the Federal Reserve charter up next year?
I'm not aware of that. That would be a great thing to have it not be renewed.
I suppose it is. I'm sure they're already working on that to get it renewed. But where do we put the finger here? I mean, the media doesn't want people like me. They don't want my book getting there. They don't want my information. They don't want your shows getting out there. They're coming after us on the internet. Now, next year, supposedly, you're going to have that chip to buy or sell, isn't it, to get the health care bill?
Is that going to be happen, you think?
I don't know. I think they're going to. They already got the commercials for it. You know, have you seen those? HealthLink?
Well, I don't have television, so I can't see any commercials.
I found the commercials on the internet, but George used to forget his medication, and now we've got this little chip. This little chip, HealthLink.
HealthLink, huh?
Yes,
I'll have to make a note and look. It's probably on YouTube, isn't it?
Yes. And oh my God! So the doctor will it'll not only tell you, you'll be able to doctor know when your medication, what you bought, your medication, how much is in your bank account, and that's what Aaron Russo told us, who was a friend of mine. Put him on the cover of my magazine, my anti-Semitic magazine, when he was running for governor. And he said the whole plan is to get us all chipped, to get us all linked into the international bank. What do you think? And then of course he developed cancer and died.
Right. That was a very great loss for all of us. Well, don't you want to not lose your grandma from Alzheimer's walking away? The chip may help us find her.
Yeah, it works for your dogs, doesn't it? I mean, if they haven't died of cancer yet.
And children being kidnapped will be a thing of the past, because we can find them with the chip.
Yeah, we'll make it all better. Now, how do we combat this? I mean, this is the 21st century. This is 21st century warfare. It's being conducted on the internet right now. Lynn's been going over and looking at different stories, and all the stories seem to be designed to divide and conquer. There's no stories about us working together. If you would think about the Occupy movement, you take a look at you remember some guy taking a shit on a police car.
Right. Well, what I do, one of the things I do occasionally, Clay, is I encourage young couples to have their babies at home with no vaccinations, no birth certificates, and have a free, healthy child in that manner.
I agree with that, and again, the whole
No
plan.
Social Security number also. They issue Social Security numbers to newborn babies now. So have your baby at home with no Social Security number, no vaccines, and no birth certificate, and you'll be raising a free American in your home.
They are trying, I've been telling people the whole Liberty Village concept, that could be done today, this week, this year, in your neighborhood. In Fort Worth, in Dallas, in Austin, in upstate New York. You can go, if you went out and talked to your neighbors and said, look, we're a little bit worried. We've been hearing about food shortages. We've been hearing about, the water supply going bad. We've been hearing about all these things happening. The government is telling us that we need to prepare. We need to do something. Why not put our garden in our backyards, in everybody's backyard, and put solar and wind on the roof of every house in this neighborhood and see if we can become self-sufficient. Now, why would that, is that possible? Am I typical here? I mean, I lived in Miami for 8 years, and I don't believe I ever went into my next door neighbor's house.
Right. Well, it would be quite an undertaking. I'm active in my community, and there's probably 8 or 10 families that we get together at least once a month and talk about these matters, and we're all active in having a garden and being self-reliant and being able to defend our homes from criminals, and get ham radio skills and get medical and emergency medical treatment skills. We're all doing it within the neighborhood. We don't happen to live right next door to each other, but we're a short driving distance from each other, and when we do, work together and cooperate and exchange information.
We need to do that more, but I was just involved with signed up for this Patriot Unity Coalition. Still got the links up. Hope they're doing well. But they spent more time infighting and talking about each other than coming up with any viable solutions.
That's an unfortunate thing. It happens way too much, Clay.
And even Tea Parties, we've got Sarah Palin, the darling of the Tea Parties, urging Tea Partiers, Christians, to go to war with Iran.
Oh, she's doing that? I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yes.
I'm so disappointed. I am so disappointed.
And I mean, I think back to the presidential election. I mean, what kind of choice do we have? John Songbird McCain? Or Barack Obama? And what do we have? What kind of choice do we have in the future? Ron Paul's been pretty much sidelined. Right. We got Mitt Romney. That's everybody in Clear Channel. Anybody in Bain Capital is basically working for the Mossad. They're controlling all the information that you get, folks.
You're right.
And what happens if we give Obama another term? I mean, come on.
Well, we know.
But actually, let me say something in defense of Obama. I think he's the perfect New World Order leader. I mean, he's half black, he's half white, he's part Jew, he's part Muslim, he's part Christian. And didn't they make him head of the Security Council the first time a Russian hadn't been head of the Security Council?
Oh, I wasn't aware of it. No, I was not aware of that. The United Nations Security Council?
Yes.
Well, it's always been a communist, so I guess nothing's changed then, has it?
Nothing changed. Nothing changed. I mean, it really bothers me. Every plank in the Communist Manifesto is intact in America today. When I got out of the Army, I read the Constitution. I read the Communist Manifesto. Why are we leaning more towards the Communist Manifesto? And did we fight on the wrong side in World War II? I mean, was that 3 communist countries going against the German people who were standing up against the Jewish control?
Well, it wasn't our war. Roosevelt knew about the attack on Pearl Harbor well before it happened, and we had no business being in that war, quite frankly.
We didn't, and it would have ended a lot better if we hadn't.
I think it would have. Well,
now,
I think
if Baldwin is right about 9/11, and it was the World Trade Center was taken down by nukes, many nukes. He said they go up like a searchlight. I mean, they're directed. He used a claymore as an example.
Right.
And to me, this whole 9/11 thing was so in your face. Of course we're lying. No, yeah. It was Muslims with box cutters made those buildings come down. Come on, that was so outrageous. What did anybody that didn't buy it?
19 men are alive and well in the Middle East right now.
Yeah, and what was this? Was this a way to separate us? Anybody that believed the government might stay out of the camps, anybody that doesn't believe anybody that's a 9/11 truther is certainly a new type of enemy. I mean, come on, the same things happened. I've had special forces, I've got special forces colonel lecturing on my site that says the same thing that's been done in every Marxist revolution is being done here now. What do you think?
Well, I agree. These people are very bright. They have a plan that's worked in the past, and they're implementing that plan with a little slight tweaking to make it suitable for the United States. But they're following their plan, and they have every reason to believe that they'll be successful. I don't think they know what they're up against, really, but they think they're going to be successful.
Well, somebody told me once they don't have the power that they want you to believe they have, because if they did, we'd still be under the Persian Empire or the Roman Empire or the British Empire.
Right.
And I've also asked questions. Maybe you can answer this one. Who won the Cold War?
Well, the Cold War was a orchestrated event to distract, obfuscate, cause the defense contractors to make multi-billions of dollars, of course. It served a lot of purposes for many years.
We've got these organizations right now. Just very quickly, what about the ADL and Southern Poverty Law? I mean, are these just nothing but communist organizations? I've said that the elitists, the banksters out there, the Rothschilds out there, the Bushes out there, the people with a dubious Jewish claim or Judaism, they're hiding behind the Jewish people. They are hiding behind them, and they'll sacrifice them in a heartbeat, just like they did in Germany in World War II.
Of course they would, and they would do the same thing again in a heartbeat. You're right. As far as Southern Poverty Law Center and ADL, if they're not communists, they're carrying a communist water. That's for sure.
What about Homeland Security? Everything's in place now. As I see it, I've compared what's happening in the United States to what happened after the Bolsheviks took over Russia. The same people were put into place. The Alexander Solzhenitsyn, just a writer just like you and I, Ezra Pound, who basically did the same thing that you and I are doing.
Well, Homeland Security, of course, is the largest federal agency now. That's what it's become, and they have a very wide reach, far greater than most people would ever guess.
And it's controlled. I mean, Michael Chertoff, I'm sure I pissed him off because I passed out a lot of my magazines to Homeland Security in training in Socorro, New Mexico. And I had a picture of Michael Chertoff on the left side of the page and a picture of Lennon on the other. And they look identical. I said, my God, I'm starting to believe in cloning.
Chertoff's a really scary-looking guy. He does not look healthy, for one thing. But he's a really scary-looking guy.
Now, Napolitano, we've got another dual citizen in charge of Homeland Security now. And again, Homeland Security putting out bulletins trying to demonize you, veterans, you, me, any veterans out there where you're potential terrorists,
Yeah, we're all potential terrorists because we believe in the Constitution.
That's right. This is about education, and how do you go about? How do we go about doing this? I mean, basically, what you're doing, the station you're doing on Republic, John's been working at this a long time. He's gotten a lot of good information out. I broadcast on it. Sorry, I'm not still able to work with him. But again, that all fell apart. You had people that were working together. Suddenly, they're all competing with each other. Now, I've got links to your site right now on mine, and it'll be up there for a month. To me, the information is the main thing. We've just
I agree, Clay. And you know what you and I are doing. We're the watchmen on the wall, getting out the message to the best of our ability, and that's about as much as anybody can do. Is be the watchman on the wall and get the message out to the best of their ability.
Now, on the chat room, Mary is asking what do you think about giving up our guns. First of all, Mary, I'll say for me, this ain't never going to happen. People, we've got too many millions of Americans that's got guns, and we ain't giving them up. The UN can do whatever they want to. They can say whatever they want to. The police aren't going against us. The police are oath keepers. And I don't believe they're going to go against us. They want you to be afraid, though. They want to build up that fear. That's what they use. You know, that's what they use a lot of the talk show hosts about. They don't want to talk about Israel, but they want you to be scared. They want you to be frightened.
Right. And well, I interact professionally with a lot of police officers the past 40 years as a criminal defense investigator, and these men and women, they know their oath of office. Out here where I live, and in most of these communities, they all went to high school together. They're related by blood and marriage with each other. They're not about to start trying to confiscate firearms from the people they went to high school with and they're related to by blood and marriage, which is essentially the entire community. That's not going to happen, Clay.
You know, I've said I think it might be. I think the Mayans might be right. I think 2012 might be the end of the world of the banksters. But
well, you know, there's multiple Mayan calendars, and some of them go several thousand years to the future from now. It may be the end of an age, but it's not the end of the world. We'll see.
All right, we're almost done here, folks. John, I really appreciate you being on my show.
It was fun, Clay.
And I would love to be on yours. I've got 3 books out. I've got a fiction series, and I'm coming out with, this year, I'm coming out with a new book about Lucifer. Except in my book, I'm saying Lucifer's a good guy.
Well, Clay, I need to get your phone number. If you want to get that to me by email at thelibertyman@aol.com.
I will do that. I'll get that to you, but it's all up on my site. This show will be up on the site. Tell everybody about the show. Blood, it's linked right to your site. You can, under your name is the URL for the show. It'll be recorded up there. And it'll also be put up on YouTube and a number of other places. But freeamerican.com, and my number's 520-413-2397. It's up on every one of my sites. I'm willing to work with anybody, folks. We have answers. I want to work with people out there that care about this country.
Very good.
All right.
Thank you, Clay. It was fun.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.
Or truthradio.info. Back in the days when Barack Obama was only a state senator and a law professor.
Call recording has been completed.
Radio station in the Chicago area, WEZ. And he let his hair down. He let his Jews